Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine at your places. Today we are going to start with Moral Science chapter 1 Akbar and Birbal. Students, it is a very beautiful story and saying about God is one. In this story, there was discussion between Akbar and Birbal on God. Let's read the story. Here is a story about Akbar and Birbal. Birbal was a vice jester in the court of King Akbar. One day, both Akbar and Birbal were sitting and talking about God. Akbar asked Birbal, "How can God have many names and yet be one?" Birbal replied, "Your Majesty, God is one. It is just that he is called by different names. Hindus call him Bhagwan, Muslims call him Allah, Sikhs call him Satguru, and Christians call him Jesus Christ." Akbar was still confused and asked Birbal to explain further. Students, as we know that Akbar was a great emperor and Birbal was the jester in the Akbar's court. Student, do you know what is the meaning of jester? Jester means a person who used to entertain the king in the court. One day, both Akbar and Birbal were sitting together and doing discussion on God. Akbar was confused that God is one but was addressed by different names by different people. जैसे बच्चे हमें पता है कि हिंदूज जो हैं वो भगवान बोलते हैं, मुस्लिम्स अल्लाह कहते हैं, सिख्स जो होते हैं वो सतगुरु बोलते हैं और क्रिश्चियंस जो हैं वो जीसस क्राइस्ट कहते हैं. Birbal tried to explain him, but Akbar was not satisfied and yet confused. Birbal said, "Your Majesty, let me explain once more." Birbal saw a servant who was wearing a turban. He called the servant and said, "Remove the turban and wear it around your waist." The servant did as was told. Birbal said, "Your Majesty, we will call the piece of cloth a belt now, as it is tied at the waist." Then Birbal asked the servant to open the cloth and tie it below the waist. The servant did as was told. Birbal said, "We would call this piece of cloth dhoti now, Your Majesty." Finally, Birbal told the servant to tie the cloth back on the head. The servant did so. Birbal said, "Your Highness, it is turban again, as it is tied on the head." Birbal thanked the servant and asked him to leave. Yes, students, to satisfy the Akbar, Birbal called his servant who was wearing a turban. Birbal told to the servant to remove the turban and wear it around his waist. Now, by giving this example, he explained that now a piece of cloth is called as a belt when we tied it around our waist, and when tied the piece of cloth below the waist, it is dhoti. ऐसे ही बच्चे जैसे एक कपड़ा जो है वो सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंगली अलग अलग उसके नाम हैं. जैसे अगर सर पे बांधेंगे तो वो टर्बन कहलाएगी. अगर उसको हम अपने वेस्ट पे बांधेंगे, कमर पे बांधेंगे, तो वो एज अ बेल्ट हम उसको बोलेंगे. और अगर हम उसको अपनी वेस्ट के नीचे बांधते हैं तो वो धोती का काम देती है. ऐसे ही जो बीरबल है वो अकबर को एक्सप्लेन करना चाह रहा था कि ये गॉड इज़ वन बट he addressed by different names. He then told Akbar, "Your Highness, you just saw how the same piece of cloth was different names. Similarly, people address God by different names and in different forms as is mentioned in the religion." Birbal then took Akbar near the window and said, "Water evaporates from water bodies, and on reaching high altitude, the vapor cools down to form water droplets. The water droplets join together and are called clouds. When the droplets fall on the earth, we call it rain. Similarly, God is called by different names even though God is one." Akbar was very happy and convinced. He told Birbal that now he had understood clearly that God is one. So, in a similar way, Birbal also explained same concept using the example of water drops. As we know that as water evaporates from the different water bodies and on reaching high altitude, water droplets combine together to form clouds. So students, Birbal just want to explain to this thing that God is one and we should respect all the religions.